Friends, in this video I want to share with you guys a really quick, easy dessert recipe that you can make for your family. You can do this throughout the year. It is banana cream like a banana cream pie bars. Let me get that out correctly. And so it's wonderful dessert. I made it for the family. We really enjoyed it. Shared some with our neighbors. They loved it too. So super quick and easy, and it really reminds me of my grandfather because that was his favorite dessert when he was alive, was banana cream pie. I made it for him all the time and he loved it. So let's get cooking and I can show you guys that recipe. To make the crust, it's really quite easy. You're going to take an entire box of vanilla wafers and you're going to go ahead and put them in a food processor and blend them up until they are a fine crumb. And then from there, you're going to add in 4 tablespoons of melted butter. If you find for any reason that your crust is still really kind of crumbly and not coming together, you can add a tablespoon of melted butter at a time until it comes together. You don't want this crust drenched with butter. You do, however, want it moist. We are not baking this. This is a no-bake dessert. You just want the crust to be able to hold together when it's pressed into the pan. But for me, the 4 tablespoons of butter worked perfectly. But I just wanted to point that out, that if you needed a little bit more, just do 1 tablespoon at a time, so it doesn't become too buttery or too oily. Now I did decide to spray my pan as well, just to make sure that when I go to cut the dessert in a few hours that it's not a big deal. Now all you need to do to form the crust is to put it all into the pan and just begin to evenly spread it around. You'll get a feel for what areas have a bit more than others and what needs a bit more crumbs. And you could just press it down with the bottom of a spoon, or you could use the bottom of a measuring cup. It's up to you. It really doesn't matter which way you do it, but you do want to make sure you try to press it in firmly into the bottom of the 9x11 cake pan, so that way you can form your crust. And once that's done, just set it aside. Again, this is a no-bake dessert, so it's as far as you need to go with it. From there, you're going to take a block of cream cheese, and I apologize, my camera would not focus on it for anything, but it is 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese. You're going to put that into your bowl, and then you're going to go ahead and whip it up. Now, I did have this sitting out for 30 minutes to an hour to soften. A quick way to soften your cream cheese is to take it out of the foil wrapper. Do not forget that. Pop it in a bowl and then throw it in your microwave for 15 seconds to 30 seconds, depending on how big your microwave is, just to soften it. You don't want to melt it. You just want to soften it. Cream cheese beats so much better when it is softened and at room temperature than it does when it's cold. Now, you can either use a hand mixer like I did, or you can use a stand mixer. It doesn't really matter. I just opted to do the hand mixer because it was a bit easier. So you just spend about a minute or two going ahead and whipping it with the hand mixer, just to kind of, again, soften it a bit more and break it down. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 box of banana cream Jello instant pudding mix. This is the big box. I think it's 3.5 ounces is the size, but it's the large box. You could do a vanilla instant pudding mix. I opted for banana cream because that was at the request of my husband. Now, this dessert recipe I will write below in the description box. This was inspiration from a variety of recipes to create my own. I did opt to go ahead and put the pudding mix in first, mix it in a little bit, and then from there add in 2 cups of cold milk. And then I whipped it for about 2 to 3 minutes just to try to get it to blend together and really get that cream cheese to break down. And the point of the cream cheese is it helps to thicken the mixture so it stands up better as a bar. Now, you could just do a banana cream pudding filling without the cream cheese, but I don't think it's going to hold together as well as by adding in that cream cheese. You add in some richness, not too rich. It's not a rich dessert by any means, but then you also add in some thickness so it holds up in the bar form. Now, once I was done with the paddle, I did decide to use the whisk attachment just to add in a little bit of lightness and fluffiness to the dessert as well. Every recipe I looked at didn't call for this. This is just my own personal preference. Again, taking inspiration from others to create my own. And so from here, the filling is done. That's it. Super simple. Cream cheese, pudding, 2 cups of milk. That's all you need. Now I'm just going to go ahead and kind of put it in little dollops. The reason I do that is because, again, we didn't bake the crumbs. And so you don't want to just put it all in the center and push it around and then accidentally pull up all of the crumbs. You want to put dollops around and then kind of work from the center out. And as you can see, just kind of carefully, if possible, spreading. Now, if you get a few crumbs, it happens. It's just the way that it goes. But just lightly back and forth motion will help you spread out the filling to cover it. And at first I wasn't sure if this filling was going to be enough. Turned out to be perfect. It wasn't a big deal at all. This was just the right amount of crust, filling, and whipped cream. Now, the next step is to add the bananas. I do not like super ripe bananas. Everybody has a preference. You pick out the bananas you want. If they go too far for me, I can't eat them. So this was perfect. Now, I wouldn't recommend making this more than a day in advance. I'd actually recommend making it in the morning for whatever you want to do to serve it. You can make it the night before, but just keep in mind we are talking about bananas and they do brown fairly easily. This did last about 2 to 3 days. I think by day 3 we were kind of pushing it on the bananas. Again, I don't like a super ripe banana, but it did last at least 3 days. So just to kind of give you an idea. Now I just spread them around like that. You can add more, you can add less. This part is up to you. From there, it's just time to make the whipped cream topping. It's 2 cups of heavy cream, half a cup of powdered sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you're just going to whip it up and until it forms stiff peaks, and that would be it. It's super easy to do. Once you've whipped up your heavy cream, you're going to go ahead and put it on top of the pie. Now, again, this dessert turned out so good. We really enjoyed it. I actually gave some to our neighbors and they loved it. They really enjoyed it. This is definitely going to be in the rotation of desserts that I make for family and friends. You can make this year round. This doesn't have to even remotely be a summer dessert at all. So just so you know, you can use it any time of the year. Now, same thing with the whipped cream that I did with the pudding mix is I'm going to just put some dollops around because it will help when you go to spread to not just have it all kind of almost in one location. I mean, I guess I sort of did, but you want to be able to have enough where you can spread it and not let the bananas show through. So the 2 cups of heavy cream was just enough to make enough whipped cream to cover the top of this bar. And keep in mind, the pan is a 9 by 11 cake pan. So depending on how big or small you cut them, it can serve quite a few people. I gave our neighbors 4 large pieces, and then we had some. I mean, again, by day 3, I think we had 1 slice left. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is what it is. So it was really good, and we really enjoyed it. So you can choose how you want to do the top. I tend to, once I have it covered, do a back and forth motion with the spatula to just kind of give a little bit of a design with the whipped cream on top. It's just kind of how I've always done it. And then that is pretty much it. You can kind of see with the whipped cream. You can leave it like that, or you can add some of the vanilla wafers on top. I did opt to take a few of them and just crush them to put them on top, just to give it a little added something to it. Again, this was just for us. I really did not even need to take this step, but you could do a couple of things. You could grate some chocolate on it. You could drizzle chocolate on it. You could put them whole, or you could crush them up. You could even top, if you're making bars right before serving, you can also you know, do slices of banana on top of each one. I did not do that because it was just us, and so all they would do was to brown, and it wouldn't look good. So I just opted to go ahead and just cover the top of the pie bars with some crushed Nilla wafers, and then that is pretty much it. It was so good, and it's so easy to put together. I think within maybe 15 minutes I had this dessert together and in the refrigerator. Okay, so it's been about an hour or two since this has been in the fridge. I'm not really 100% sure. I've lost track of time. We're just kind of waiting on the storm that's supposed to, the outer bands are supposed to reach us tonight. And so this is kind of our little dessert, you know, for while we're kind of stuck in the house. With this, you can do all kinds of different ways to set up the topping. If you're serving this for guests, you can put this in the fridge for several hours and make sure that it's cold all the way through for the crust at the bottom to hold still. Cut them into bars, slice with banana on top, a whole Nilla wafer if that's what you want. You can see I'm missing a square because my husband already tried it before it was even set in the cold, and so one of his favorite desserts is banana pudding. And so I just decided to go ahead and cut into some. You can leave it as simple as just the Nilla wafers kind of crushed on top like I did. You could drizzle some caramel. You could obviously make this far more presentable if you're doing it for company, but it's just for us, so it doesn't matter. This is just going to stay in this pan, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull some out. Oh yeah, even the last hour or two of sitting in the fridge has really helped the crust, because there's butter in the crust, to kind of like solidify and get cold, so it holds together when you cut into it. So that is what it looks like, excuse me, right there. So go ahead and put it in this bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Get this covered back up. This turned out really good. It's so super yummy. It's nice and light. It's not heavy, even though the cream cheese is in there, so you can honestly barely tell that the cream cheese is in there. It's just to kind of thicken it up a little bit more than if you did a banana pudding with just the milk, and so that helps to give you that bar form, so it's nice and, I don't want to say stiff because it's not stiff, but it's nice and tender, soft. I don't know if that's even the right description. It's smooth. There we go. Okay, brain's working here. Smooth, and so, but yet still firm enough to hold together, so it's not kind of running everywhere. So highly recommend, definitely do this. This is a great, still summertime, great little treat for the summer. So anyways, all right, I just want to thank you guys for joining me for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.